Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. Today's episode is One Punch Man Ova, Episode 4, The Ninja Who Is Too Complicated. The episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happened within this episode. So the episode begins with Sonic facing a giant shadow in his dream, which lands a hit in his most sensitive area, and this causes him to wake up in a tree branch, really distressed. And Frank, who is a hunter, calls up to him and says that, this Saitama must be a really great, like a really strong person because while he was sleeping, Sonic kept repeating Saitama's name over and over and over. And Frank reveals to Sonic his own trauma about, having being a hunter, encountering a bear, barely making it away, got some claw scars, and how, since then he's been afraid and shakes when he uses his gun to hunt, and that's obviously caused him concern. Sonic at first laughs off the fact that he could possibly have trauma. However, we do see that he did carve Saitama's face into a tree and has been doing visualization training to try to beat him, but has not been able to visualize himself winning. He then goes out into the woods and encounters a baby boar that is being chased by a snake, and he then attacks the snake. However, every time he goes to try to attack the snake, he flashes back to Saitama and aborts his attack, finally realizing and acknowledging that he actually is in fact afraid, but deciding that he needs to acknowledge that fear and move beyond it. And once he does this, he's able to get rid of the snake. The baby boar goes back with him. He and Frank eat snake meat, and he then resumes his visualization training, with the tree ultimately being able to attack Saitama's face in the tree and feeling more satisfied. He then leaves Frank, and shortly after Sonic leaves, Frank is accosted once again by this bear that we had heard of, and he tries to shoot the bear, but all of his shots miss because he's shaking so badly, and he and the boar end up inside of his home, but the bear breaks into his little wooden shack lean-to that he made. And this, of course, is when Saitama happens by, and he says that bears are good, boars would be better, but ultimately decides to kill the bear. And by the time Frank wakes up to Ino, who is next to him, he looks and sees that the tree that Sonic was able to make a slash in, Saitama completely blew apart. And of course, the bear is gone. We then see Saitama with Genos making a hot pot using the bear meat, and he informs Genos, who's a bit concerned, that most animals are edible, and talks about how the boar meat would have been better, but he went with the bear instead because they've been causing havoc in the area recently. And then we see Sonic standing on top of a roof talking about how the next time he meets Saitama, things will be different. And so our rankings will be on our mostly objective ranking list first, followed by the personal ranking after that. So, our mostly objective rank values in this episode, we have our single episode supporting character introduction, which is Frank, who is the hunter that Sonic went to stay with to recover from the trauma of losing to Saitama. And then we also got some multi-season supporting character development because between the first episode that Sonic premiered in and the episode where he returned to face Saitama again, he went on this journey to overcome his trauma, and that's why he wasn't traumatized when we saw him in the main series of season 1. But we see how he had nightmares, how for a while he didn't feel like he could feel the wind anymore, how he felt like like that he was scared to face even like a snake, which should be an easy kill for him because he kept flashing back to Saitama, and how Frank helped him to acknowledge his fear and overcome it so that he was then able to defeat the snake and overcome his fears of Saitama so that when he does go back to confront him again, he is no longer traumatized. And that was worth 3 points, which brings this episode to a 4 out of 10. So that now brings our overranking so far and our mostly objective ranking to in first, Road to Hero. The ninja who is too complicated this episode is second. A shadow that snuck up too close, and then the pupil who is an extremely poor talker is currently last. And we come to the personal ranking. So, I like Sonic as a character, and I did find it hilarious that he was having bad dreams, but to be fair, his momentum did carry him into a very sensitive area when he was facing Saitama that first time, so it is understandable that he would have some sort of lingering trauma. And when he does meet Saitama the second time, he does note that he was training, and now we finally get some insight into what that training involved, which was overcoming the trauma of Saitama, and thank goodness he did leave before Saitama came to kill the bear, because I feel like he probably would have been pretty demoralized that he was able to destroy the carving of Saitama's face that he put into the tree, but he wasn't able to make much of a dent in the tree, which Saitama completely blew away. But for me, as much as I like Sonic, I also felt like, the boar was cute too. Was an adorable boar. But ultimately, like, I didn't need the episode, we should say. And Frank, for all he seems like a very nice guy, helping to give little nuggets of wisdom to Sonic to help him overcome his trauma, which Sonic also kind of gives back at the end as well, saying that, if he's too confident in his fighting style, then the outcome will not change against the bear, which is proven true. The fact is, Frank's a minor character in a like 11-minute episode, so there's no real attachment there. And Sonic, while I do like that we got a little bit of development with him overcoming his trauma, there also wasn't really a lot of comedic aspect other than the flashbacks to that momentum carrying wound that he got in that first episode that he appeared in. So ultimately, while I liked it, I didn't think that it lived up to the some of the others that we'd seen and decided to give it a 3 out of 10, which brings our overranking so far on the personal ranking to in first, A Shadow That Snuck Up Too Close, second, Road to Hero, third, The Pupil Who Is an Extremely Poor Talker, and then this episode is currently fourth, The Ninja Who Is Too Complicated. Which now brings us to our series ranking so far, and on our mostly objective side, Season 1 ended with 88.33%, Season 2 was 74.17%, and the OVAs so far have earned 15 out of a possible 130. Meanwhile, on the personal side, Season 1 ended with 76.67%, Season 2 with 65.83%, and the OVAs so far have a score of 20 out of 130. And with that, we've now rewatched and ranked One Punch Man Ova Episode 4, The Ninja Who Is Too Complicated. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.